We can agree to disagree, but our views are unapologetically right. It's the John Phillips Show.
And a very happy Thursday to you at 12:06 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
John, we are broadcasting live on the radio on 790 KABC in Southern California and 810 KSFO in the Bay Area, but we are also broadcasting live on video at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio, at Facebook at KABC Radio, at Facebook at K810 KSFO, on X at Johnny Don't Like, and on Twitch at Randy Wang Radio. You can watch us on any of those platforms. If you're having trouble finding any of those platforms, it is really easy. Just go to KABC.com or go to KSFO.com, and there's links to all of them. I think the best way to go is the YouTube channel. Either way, you can participate in the chat. You can comment on everything that's going on. Some of your comments might even make the screen. You might even make friends while you're doing the show. So we're here till 3 o'clock, and we are live, and we are everywhere.
Now, Randy, we just started doing the show on YouTube, and we just added the visual element to the program as well. And what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to issue a challenge to the audience. What do you think about that?
Let's do that.
Okay. If we could get 1,000 likes on today's YouTube broadcast, we will do a Katie Porter segment on today's program.
That is quite the ask. 1,000 likes might be pretty high.
Well, that's what it's going to cost.
So we're going to need 1,000 people before 3 o'clock to hit the like button on today's YouTube stream at Randy Wang Radio, and you will get a brand new segment related to Orange County Congresswoman Katie Porter.
Why do you have to watch porn in the living room?
And it's a good one.
So, all right, that's the challenge that's out there. If you want a very special segment related to Katie Porter, it'll be the first time we talk about Katie Porter in depth on the live video stream with a chat room, which could be dangerous. All you got to do is like our live broadcast feed at Randy Wang Radio on YouTube. Hit the like button. It means a lot to us. It helps YouTube push us out because it shows that, hey, people like this. So hit that like button, and by 3 o'clock, you may get a very special Katie Porter segment.
Get out of my shop.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. The top story today involves former candidate for Los Angeles Mayor Spencer Pratt, who has put up a video online that explains just exactly how he views elections in Los Angeles.
Spencer Pratt, who was running for mayor of Los Angeles and ended up losing by about 40,000 votes to Nithya Raman for that great second place spot, has put out a video explaining exactly how he feels about that election loss and his response to some of the allegations of shenanigans being played in this mayor's race. It is a 9-minute video, and it is delicious, and I think we're going to have to enjoy the whole thing. Here is Mr. Spencer Pratt himself from his YouTube channel.
In judicial ethics, the mere appearance of potential fraud is disqualifying. Same goes here. Whether or not there is widespread fraud occurring, there certainly could be, and it doesn't matter how many times you scream, there's no widespread fraud. A lot of people believe there is, and there's no way to actually validate it. This isn't just about whether or not fraud is swinging the election. The appearance of fraud already is swinging the election.
And there is a good point to that. If you wonder why turnout is so low in Los Angeles, it could be that people just don't care. That's definitely part of it.
No, I don't know enough to give you any good information, but good luck finding someone who does.
But pretty much every single election, John, we will get emails, we'll get phone calls from people that say, what's the point of voting? They've already got it in the bag. They've already got it rigged.
Well, if you don't want people to think that it's a rigged election, why is it that for years and years and years, I used to get ballots mailed to me for people who did not live at my house and hadn't lived in my house in over a decade.
People rightly have zero faith in this janky, inefficient system. They feel like their vote isn't being counted. They feel like illegal ballots are being cast, and they're not wrong to worry about it. There's literally no safeguards in place to prevent that from happening, and way too many openings for it to occur on a massive scale. You all saw how it was neck
And
and
by
neck
the
with
way, the same group of people that doesn't want any guardrails at all on the elections are the first ones to cry foul and to say that the system is rigged when they lose. The aforementioned Katie Porter among them.
She cried a whole bunch of shenanigans when she lost out in the Senate primary.
I call it the shift gift.
Basura on election night, nearly double digits ahead of Nithya, just as the polling predicted.
And that Kalshi polling was so wild because on election night, after one Steve Kornacki report, it went from Spencer Pratt's got a 70% chance to make it to the top two to him going way down and Nithya going way up.
Did you see this comment in chat?
Let's see what we got here. Which one is it?
What the hell? Randy isn't Asian? I thought he was a rooftop Korean.
Look, I grew up with the last name Wong. I thought I was quarter Chinese. I found out about 6 years ago that my dad's adopted. That's the whole story. And if you want to know why it's Wang and not Wong, ask Tim Conway Jr.
Tears on election night, trailing Spencer Pratt by roughly 40,000 votes and about 10 percentage points.
I dominated the in-person vote. I smashed Nithya on the mail-in ballots too. She was crying on election night. It was over. Then a few days later, suddenly Nithya started overperforming as they continued to accept.
I love that his video guys are still with him even after the campaign.
Oh, those guys are having a ton of fun putting these together.
Oh, yeah.
Ballots 7 days.
What do you do, by the way, if you were a candidate? I'm sure he raised some money, and now that the election is over, what can you use that money for if you're not running for anything?
I don't know. I think that guy in Maine is going to try to use it for criminal defense attorneys, though.
Oh, boy.
After the election.
But days of county mail-in ballots have changed the map.
I'm so grateful.
Rahman has now erased a 40,000 vote deficit and moved ahead of Pratt by roughly 3,000 votes.
By the way, and almost always they end up using Seedorf's reporting for all this stuff, and I love that because I think Seedorf is awesome.
A net swing of more than 43,000 votes.
43,000 votes, which just happens to be the exact number of homeless people on the streets in LA.
That is an interesting coinky-dink.
Yeah, they call it the crackhead vote. Nithya cleaned up among them.
Well, and there were a lot of allegations specifically about so many people having their address being registered at certain homeless shelters, and then that's where the ballots were going out to.
Oh, yeah. On election day, Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt were cleaning her clock in just about every category. And then she started beating them among renters, homeless people, and 4 out of 6 of the genders.
They assured everyone that this is normal because for some reason that they can't explain, Democrats overwhelmingly vote by mail.
There's a historical phenomenon in national voting called the Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
What we were calling a Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
Yeah. This term was coined because about some swing states count votes, usually favoring Republicans early. Then it becomes an advantage for Democrats later in the evening and then into the next morning.
You expect to see the Republican with a lead, but it's not really a lead.
Democrats vote in higher numbers by a mail-in ballot. Historically, Democrats vote in higher numbers by mail-in ballots.
But not all Democrats, just the ones who are voting for the third place candidate, the one candidate who really needed the votes.
Interesting.
Yeah, Karen Bass didn't do well with that crowd, did she?
Well, she maintained her lead, but a vast majority of the late ballots that got counted, the ones that came in at the last second, were so overwhelmingly for Nithya. That's how she erased that deficit of about 40,000 votes from Spencer Pratt over just a couple of days.
Don't forget, there were 2 Democrats in the race, but for some reason, only the third place Democrat who needed the votes saw a disproportionate spike in votes several days after the election. Plus, multiple studies have shown that mail voting doesn't provide an advantage to either party. It's a myth. The media will say that claims of fraud here are without evidence. Keep in mind, an anomalous statistical spike like this is evidence of fraud. Ask any forensic accountant. It may not be necessarily proof of fraud, but it is certainly evidence of fraud.
Oh boy.
He's going right for a bite at the apple, and I'm here for it.
When he said he was declaring war, that wasn't a one-off.
Forget the late ballots. Just because the vote swing coincidentally matched the specific Lhasa count of homeless people on the streets, just because NGOs that Nithya cuts checks to were hoarding ballots, just because hundreds of thousands of dead people and ex-residents who've left California were still on the voter rolls, doesn't mean anyone is taking those loose ballots and filling them out. First off, it's against the law. And we all know if it's against the law, it doesn't happen.
All right, that was a straight-up visual gag right there. But, Johnny, who quickly flashed on the screen?
Well, he was a star for the University of Southern California and the Buffalo Bills.
What's going on, America?
He also recommends Hertz Rent-A-Car.
Well, that's 2 OJ references in a row.
Secondly, we have signature verification. Everyone has to sign their ballot, and a computer checks your signature. Well, except some voters can't sign, so they carved out a rule where you can just make a mark on the ballot, and a witness...
Hey, that's what my signature looks like. Don't criticize it.
That's what every letter from my doctor looks like.
I used to think, it's a sign of intelligence that my handwriting is so terrible.
can sign on your behalf. It can be an X or a scribble or even a happy face.
Oh, my.
The way this is broken down, it shows, there's not some giant Machiavellian like stuffing of the ballot boxes, but the way that our system is designed is ripe for all kinds of shenanigans.
Okay, what do you think would happen? What do you think if on your ballot, where you're supposed to put your signature, instead of putting your signature, you drew a picture of two stick figures involved in a sex act? Do you think they would count that vote?
They may have to call you and try to cure that ballot. And you say, no, that's my signature. What are you talking about?
As long as a witness signs off on it. And don't forget, once they separate the ballot from the envelope, there's zero way to trace it back to the ballot to check if a sudden tranche of votes that swung predominantly to one candidate had come from a bunch of ballots with the happy faces in the signature box. The DSA instructs their ballot harvesters to go door to door and tell them to vote for Nithya Raman. And
the one thing that I don't understand is, this strategy is open to anybody that wants to use it. So why is it only the DSA that's effective in doing it?
Well, because if you're a professional politician, you don't want to push the legal limits because you don't want to end up going to prison. But the DSA, they're all about a revolution, so they don't give a damn.
And help them fill in the bubble for their preferred socialist candidates. This is explicitly illegal. A ballot harvester can't tell you how to vote, and they certainly can't help you fill out the ballot. But laws don't matter if you have no mechanism in place to prevent the crime from occurring in the first place. There is this misnomer being parroted even by staunch critics of California's rigged voting system, saying there's nothing you can do because this is all legal in California. It's not legal. Even by California's own ridiculous laws, all this stuff is still illegal. They've simply removed all the mechanisms to catch the fraud and prevent it from happening. It's like a bank heist, but California has made a law that you can't lock the bank vault.
It's like the AI guys are back.
Not allowed to have security cameras, and you can't count the money inside the vault. Robbing the bank is still 100% illegal, but there's no way to stop it from happening. Now here's the smoky backroom dealing. 5 days before my election, Gavin Newsom signed a ridiculous law that literally banned federal and independent authorities from investigating vote fraud or overseeing elections to monitor for fraud during the counting process.
That's why I'm moving forward with new legislation that would make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote has been certified by state and county officials. We will be the wall he cannot get past.
That's like
They called it Bianco's Law.
Well, and what's crazy is that type of law is what's going to be used to beat Gavin Newsom in a Democratic primary for president. Because the DSA is much better at playing these games than the Democrats are.
the bank from having security cameras. Now, the timing of this was deliberate. He knows this won't hold up in court, but he did it so close to the election day, he knew the courts wouldn't be able to overturn it in time for the election. It's truly like going up against the casino. The deck is so stacked against you, you never really stand a chance. You can play if you choose, but the house will never lose. So now, in California, you can loot $950 of merchandise. You can knowingly infect someone with HIV.
That's a Scott Wiener bill.
Oh, yeah. Oh, can you imagine what the committee hearings must have been like for that one? What do you say to someone who gets AIDS because someone knowingly gave it to him? And you go, well, in some states that's a crime, but not here. Here in California, when life gives you AIDS, make lemonades.
Hey, that does rhyme.
But if you try to prevent vote fraud,
HIV is a public health issue, not a criminal issue, including when you intentionally try to give someone AIDS. So I guess you'd have to deal with Babs.
Yeah.
Great.
Wash your hands often and always before eating and after toileting.
All right, we'll have more from the Spencer Pratt video coming up in moments. Don't forget, like the stream, like the show on YouTube. Randy, we're going to try to get to 1,000 likes today.
John has put out a challenge. If we can get to 1,000 likes on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio, you watch today's feed and you hit that like button. If we can get that many, we will give you a very special segment dedicated to KT Porter.
It's the John Phillips Show. I want to read for you a portion of a 5-star review for CarPro.com from listener Scott, who loved his experience with CarPro.com and Tustin Mazda. Scott writes, I followed the CarPro process and then called the dealership to get the process started on Thursday and spoke with Jim, who told me that he would check the pricing on the CX-5 that I wanted. On Friday, he called with the pricing I wanted. I made airline reservations for Saturday. Josh, Jim's associate, followed up with me in the morning, asked if we wanted to ride from the airport to the dealership, picked me up at the curb, took me to the dealer. 2 hours later, my wife and I were on our way to the beach with our new car with Chick-fil-A provided by the dealer. My wife was happy we didn't get the runaround, all went smoothly, and she loves the car. If you want this kind of VIP treatment and amazing pricing, go to CarPro.com, enter all your info, what you're looking for, and they'll get back to you. Or you can text message or call Tom Haynes directly at 818-435-6797. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you could watch us perform the show live, participate in the show, and like the show. And if we get enough likes, we're going to do a Katie Porter segment today.
John has put out the challenge. If we can get to 1,000 likes on our YouTube stream at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio, hit the like button, watch along, participate in the chat. The chat's exploding today. We will do a very special Katie Porter segment reading Katie Porter's Yelp reviews. But we're going to need you to hit that like button. We're at 137 likes so far, so keep it up, keep it going. Tell your friends, tell your family. If you haven't checked out our live stream yet, this is the perfect opportunity to do so because we need you to hit that like button to spread the word. The more YouTube sees the like button, the more they push us out to everywhere, and then you will get a very special Katie Porter segment before the end of the show.
Now, I don't want to overpromise anything, but one of her reviews was of a strip mall massage parlor that was not Yum Yum number 2.
I'm pulling in to the bakery.
That's all I'm going to say for now. All right, we'll have more from Spencer Pratt coming up in moments right here on The John Phillips Show.
I love my Solaire infrared grill. I have had it for over a year now, and it does a great job on steaks, chicken, shrimp. Here's the thing. It's a hot and fast grill. It uses a different kind of technology than your regular grill. So it gets up to 1,000 degrees in just 3 minutes. I used to have to wait 20 minutes before my old grill would get to temp. And then as soon as I lifted open the lid, all the heat would go away. You'd have to keep the lid closed while you're grilling your food. And then when a flare-up happened, you have no idea until it starts smoking all over your backyard and you got to dump water on the grill. That used to happen to me all the time. Doesn't happen with the Solaire. It's so hot that you keep the lid on the entire time. You're not even supposed to close the lid, and you get a beautiful char with juicy meat on the inside. It does a great job. So check it out for yourself. See if the Solaire makes sense for you. I love it. I wholeheartedly endorse this thing, and I use it every week. BestHotGrill.com/Randy. BestHotGrill.com/Randy.
It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, the participation in today's show is just off the charts.
Well, it's because we mentioned the magical name Katie Porter.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Although some of the listeners want to up the ante. They say they'll smash that like button as many times as possible if we not only read the Yelp reviews, we also play the Katie Porter call from 2 years ago.
Oh, my.
But here's what I think I want to do. And maybe I can have this generated by the end of the show, or it might be a tomorrow thing. It occurred to me, now that I'm playing with all of this AI, what would it look like if I uploaded that segment, that call, to Google Gemini, and I said, create images for this? Maybe we can make a whole special video just for you. But I don't know if I can do that by 3 o'clock on this computer. I might need to do that from the home studio and have that for you tomorrow. So we can do that. We can definitely discuss that. I think that would be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, Johnny has put out a challenge. If we can get to 1,000 likes at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio by 2:30, we will read you Katie Porter's Yelp reviews in this fantastic piece from LAMaterial.com, where they uncovered the Yelp reviews of all different kinds of politicians, and Katie Porter had some words with a massage parlor and a pizza joint and supercuts.
I don't know what I'm looking forward to most. Katie Porter's review of the strip mall massage parlor, or Katie Porter getting intimate with the friend of one of our listeners, Hanna-Barbera style.
I'm going to have to do that one from home because I'm going to have to preview it and see what that actually looks like before I just put it out there on the video airwaves. I don't want to get demonetized on YouTube before I'm even monetized.
Oh, they might kick us off if it's too sexually explicit, and that call was sexually explicit.
So that's coming. For the people that want the call, let me see what I can do with all of these new fun AI tools, and maybe we'll have something to show the audience on tomorrow's show. But for now, for today, what we're going to give you, if you can get that like up to 1,000 likes, we're working our way up there. I think we're at 185 right now, and the show just started. It's like a telethon we're doing. No, we're over at 200 now. We're 1/5 of the way there. If we can get to 1,000 by 2:30, you're going to get to hear Katie Porter yelping it out.
Get out of my shop.
And then tomorrow, if you're good, that's when you get the plus-size Red Shoe Diary.
Listener Jim Wright said, remember when Katie Porter did the live stream from her kitchen? I just about lost it when her dog barked.
Sorry for the noise. I'm cutting carrots.
You know what we're going to have to do at some point is on one of our uncensored accountability podcasts is really just go through some of Katie Porter's greatest hits. Maybe we'll do that for the Thanksgiving break.
What a way to celebrate the pilgrims. All right, let's go back to Spencer Pratt in his video that he put up about how screwed up elections are in Los Angeles.
This was posted to Spencer Pratt's YouTube channel, and it's him detailing all of the shenanigans that do go on that are legal, but are they in California elections? And he's currently talking about Gavin Newsom passing legislation a few weeks ago to make it so nobody could be seizing any ballots or you'd go to prison.
Will be prosecuted.
How can you secure the money if you can't lock the vault? How can you catch the robbers if you're
That's that music he used from the first video.
not allowed to monitor the vault? And how can you even identify if the vault were even robbed in the first place if you can't even count the money? This is what California has done with elections. Unsolicited ballots going into open mailboxes and NGOs and parking lots. Bank vault is wide open. No signature required, no ID required, no way to ID the robbers. And the beauty of their rigged system is they can have all the pageantry of this public ballot counting center. Hey, come on down. It's open to the public. Anyone can come watch so you can see just how kosher our system is.
We are inside LA County's massive ballot processing center when Assistant United States Attorney arrived on scene to observe the process and ask questions.
All the fraud that does occur happens long before the ballots even hit this building. People have been pushing me to demand a recount. Why? You could recount these anonymous ballots 100 times. You'll get the same exact result. I have no doubt that they are doing a flawless job of accurately counting every single ballot in here with robotic precision. The fraud isn't here.
It's not where it's being counted. Then where is it?
And it's great that he's making this distinction because I think this is something that frequently gets lost in the noise. The problem is not in that building, as he correctly says. The problem is the process. The problem are the screwed up laws, the lack of guardrails to make sure that we have an honest election, that ballots aren't floating around in the ether, that dead people are taken off the rolls, that people who move have the correct ballot sent to the correct address and not two ballots sent to different addresses. That's what he's talking about.
It's here on Skid Row, where homeless people are paid a couple bucks for their ballots.
They give you $2 to vote?
Yeah, we in the street. We shoot something.
Would they come down here and try and pay you to vote?
Yes.
They told you who to vote for?
Since I'm voting your way, can I get a plate?
And we do know that there have been people charged now for paying homeless to sign up to register to vote, or we saw what J.J. Smith uncovered in the Tenderloin in San Francisco, where people were getting paid to sign other people's names on petitions, which is probably how we keep getting those kidney bills.
And I'll tell you, if they didn't catch them red-handed in the act on camera, you know they would say it's a conspiracy theory that they were paying people for their signatures or to sign someone else's name on those petitions.
You know what I mean?
It's here, where socialist street animals go door to door and violate the ballot harvesting laws. People bring up the old communist adage often attributed to Stalin saying, it's not who votes that counts, it's who counts the votes. No, this is the modern era of fraud. They've gotten wise. The modern communist agrees with...
Okay, the animation is pretty fantastic.
This is like a Tim Burton movie. I love it.
The old communists, but just the first part. It doesn't matter who votes. It doesn't matter if it's a drug zombie being paid for their ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a DSA socialist street animal filling out your ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a blue-haired intern at a Nithya Raman-funded NGO filling out the ballots. The bank vault is wide open. The cameras have been removed, and there's no way to count the money. Now,
love that one of the zombies has a Nithya shirt.
Well, I love the fact that they all have weird colored hair because that's so true. When you see these people out and about, not one of them has a natural color. Every single one of them on top of their head has a color that you see on the Trix box, and that's it. What's the deal with that?
It's how you can express yourself.
for those of you who wanted me to fight the election, for those of you who thought I was quitting or I was bought off to step aside and quietly disappear, I'll remind you, there's a smart way to handle these things and a dumb way. Evidence is not proof. I don't say things without proof. Now, anyone saying that there's no evidence of fraud is lying. There's tons of evidence, and I was the one who got it. All those videos that you saw of homeless people admitting that they were paid for their vote, where do you think they came from? Immediately after the big spike of votes came in for Nithya, I sent my team down to Skid Row to collect evidence. We were warned by some very well-connected people that this was happening, so we acted on it immediately. But if you want to end this fraud, doing protests and bitching about stolen elections won't get you anything. You need the fraudsters to start catching charges. For that to happen, you need proof. That's what investigators do. They turn evidence into proof with a robust investigation. You think it's a coincidence that 20 FBI agents suddenly descended on Skid Row to investigate vote fraud?
Has Pratt been working behind the scenes the last couple of weeks?
Now, don't forget, when he was talking about the fraud during the campaign, he said he was already talking to people at the IRS. He said he was talking to people at the Department of Justice, and he planned on shining a spotlight on all of the corruption going on at City Hall. Why not do the same thing with the voting process? Why not catch all of these people who are paying homeless people for their votes, who are paying homeless people to sign the petitions, who are going one step further instead of just encouraging people to fill out the ballot and turn it in, actually filling it out for them on their behalf? We need to find the videos. We need to find the hard evidence so it cannot be refuted, because otherwise they're going to say you're a conspiracy theorist.
Why do you think they were there? You don't get evidence by going to rallies or storming the ballot processing center. You get evidence by doing real work. And the first rule of criminal investigation is you do not talk about it. Here's the reality. It's too late for my campaign. A lot of people refuse to accept that, but I can. I told you all to get your ass out and vote.
I think he's having more fun doing this than he would have being mayor.
By the way, you notice he's doing it from the RV that he's now living in because Baz burned his house down.
Oh, I was well aware of it.
Tell your friends to vote. Vote enough to beat the cheat. We didn't beat it, but that doesn't mean I quit. I don't know how to quit.
He never knew when to quit.
My goal isn't to try and salvage the campaign, just like my advocacy in the wake of the Palisades fire wasn't about my own home. It's too late for me. This is about you. This is about the next one. It's about exposing this corrupt, rigged system and changing it for the next election. If I have to be the kamikaze pilot to finally get this fixed, so be it. There's a right way and a wrong way to do this. The right way isn't easy, but it ends with commie animals in handcuffs. I will restore faith in our elections if it's
I love that he doesn't beat around the bush, too.
He is a very effective communicator. People can understand what he is putting out there. He's got a career in communication.
Well, and it's true. On the ballot this next election, you're going to have a choice between Marx and Lenin.
It's going to be a fun one.
last thing I do. And to all you fraudsters out there, we've been watching you, and justice is coming.
And that was the Spencer Pratt video that he put out last night that is getting all kinds of attention.
And if you're listening on the radio, at the end, there was a visual of Teddy Roosevelt that said war. It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Aloha Girl 6069 just commented in the chat, need a graphic of John and Randy at Yum Yum number 2. Well, we would love to do that. Unfortunately, the mayor made them change the sign from Yum Yum number 2 to now it just says massage. I also heard that the Carniceria next door complained about it to City Hall as well.
Here's what I will say, Aloha Girl on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate your like. The next time there is a massage parlor story in the news, I will create with my software a title card that is John and I in front of Yum Yum number 2.
Now, don't make it too realistic. I don't need any trouble with the law. How are we doing on the likes?
All right. John put out a challenge. If we can get to 1,000 likes on our YouTube feed by 2:30, we will start reading Katie Porter's Yelp reviews coming from this story from LAMaterial.com.
You can smell it right here.
And currently, we're almost a quarter of the way there at 247. So we're doing it, people.
All right.
And yes, the stretch goal is we are also trying to figure out how to turn the famous Katie Porter caller story into a video that we can play for you.
Yeah, this is not like the Jerry Lewis telethon where they're promising you that people in wheelchairs can walk again. We can't do any of that. But we can do a Katie Porter segment or a couple of them.
We sure can.
All right. So the Olympics are coming to Southern California, and it is going to be a slow motion train wreck. And every time we get an update, it becomes more obvious to everyone except the buffoons in charge.
Southern California is going to need about 24,000 police officers to manage the LA 2020 Olympics. And we are nowhere close to that, especially in the city of Los Angeles. For more on this, here's a report from NBC LA.
Southern California will need a jaw-dropping 24,000 police officers to protect the LA 28 Olympic Games that begin just about 2 years from now. About half of those officers will be needed in the city of LA alone to protect venues and provide traffic control. That is far more than the LAPD can currently provide. Investigative reporter Eric Leonard has been following the security planning for the Games. He joins us with new information.
This is going to be a major challenge over the next 2 years. How to provide enough officers for the huge security footprint that will be needed during the 2 months of the Games.
Here's a fun fact. When Eric Garcetti was selling the IOC on doing the Olympics back when they were pitching 2024, he said that LAPD would be up to 12,000 officers by then. We'd be ready to go. We're currently at about 8,500.
I've received things on both ends.
I'm telling you, we are going to be the laughingstock of the entire globe because the entire globe is going to come here for those games. I mean, just think about it. What kind of egg are we going to have on our face if that Turkish transgendered kickboxer gets mugged on the NTA?
Including time for setup and the Paralympic Games. The LAPD is already shorthanded with about 8,500 officers total these days. And with its regular police work that it will still have to do during the Games, it can only provide.
Yeah, because the Olympics aren't the only thing going on. LAPD is already short-staffed, and they're already stretched as thin as possible dealing with all the crap they have to deal with in the city of LA. Maybe the only thing that's probably like a silver lining here, and I have to remind people of this, they're calling it the LA 2028 Olympics, but a hell of a lot of these events are happening in cities that have better police departments, like Inglewood, like Pasadena. There's even a couple events happening in Orange County and Long Beach.
Well, maybe they figure there's going to be less violence at this Olympics now that Tanya Harding's retired.
Fraction of what will be needed, meaning the city will have to import thousands and thousands of other officers.
On peak demand days, the LAPD will deploy approximately 6,700 officers across the various sites, of which we, the LAPD, can only provide 1/3 of that deployment, so roughly 2,200 officers per day.
That's pretty low.
You think?
Maybe what we need is a whole bunch of safety ambassadors. You think that'll do it?
I'm sure the Japanese will respond real well to that. Yeah, I know you're expecting a police officer, but here's a reformed gang member who just got out of the state pen. Enjoy.
That leaves a staffing gap of approximately 4,400 officers per day. This is for LAPD venues only.
The LAPD commander there told us.
And based on attrition, we might be 1,000 officers lower by this time in 2028.
Senate's Public Safety Committee recently that these are the officers who will cover the 8 Olympic venues and other sites within city limits. In total, he estimates 12 to 15,000 officers will be needed just for the locations and the events in the city over the course of the games. For all of Southern California, that total number of officers needed will be between 24 and 30,000 for the duration of the games. And few departments in California have many officers to spare. Just like Los Angeles, many cities and counties are below ideal staffing levels. Some departments require officers to work mandatory overtime just to cover necessary assignments every day.
And that bankrupts the budget real quick.
Well, how about borrowing some from Oakland? Everything's working like a Swiss clock up there.
The interim police chief just got named full police chief up there. We'll have that story for you tomorrow.
If they can't send the thousands needed, the state legislature is considering a bill that would allow out-of-state officers to work in California during the summer games. The bill is sponsored by...
All right, Utah State Troopers, we need you.
LA Mayor Karen Bass's office. It was introduced by Assemblywoman Tina McKinnon, who's promised that these imported officers will be trained on California law before they are sent out to Olympic sites.
Tina McKinnon, fun fact, she represents Englewood in the Assembly, and she's the one that got through that bill that allowed last call to be changed to 4 a.m. for one venue in the state of California, Steve Ballmer's Intuit Dome.
Gee, I wonder if she's getting Clipper tickets.
Anybody could get Clipper tickets right now.
That's true.
Kawhi's about to leave.
Don't have enough officers, the federal government will come in and send in their officers. They will send in their ICE officers. They'll send in their federal officers. We will prioritize local police officers.
One police advocacy group is already opposed to this. It's expressed concern that officers brought in from other states won't operate with the same level of accountability.
Hey, that's the name of our podcast.
It is. And Randy, you still have time to like the stream.
We are currently at, let me do a refresh here. We need 1,000 likes by 2:30, and we're at 271, so keep it up, people. If you haven't liked our stream at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio, hit that like button. We appreciate it, and so does Katie Porter.
It's the John Phillips Show.
not right here.
Crime is up all over the state.
The homelessness in the city is out of control.
The economy is sick. Taxes are high.
Housing is expensive and businesses are leaving.
California needs fixing. And John Phillips is just the man to lead the charge. It's the Fix California Hour with John Phillips and Randy Wang.
And we continue at 1:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, we are broadcasting live on the radio on 790 KABC in Southern California, 810 KSFO in the Bay Area, but we are also broadcasting live on video at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio, on Facebook on KABC and KSFO, on X at Johnny Don't Like, and on Twitch at @RandyWangRadio. But today, Johnny, we're trying to push as many people as possible to watch us on the YouTube and to hit that like button, which we just hit 300. John has made a stretch goal for us. If we can get to 1,000 likes in our YouTube channel by 2:30, we're going to read Katie Porter's Yelp reviews.
Why do you have to watch porn in the living room?
Now, one of those Yelp reviews is of a strip mall massage parlor. And I don't want to give anything away, but I do believe she was there with Robert Kraft.
So if you would like that segment, we will bring it to you at 2:30. All we need from you is to check out the live stream at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio. If you have any trouble finding it, just send us an email. Hit the like button. That helps YouTube push us out to even more people. We appreciate it. And well, Katie does not appreciate it.
What I haven't heard about is anything about dishwashers.
Who do you think felt more violated, her or the person doing the massage?
No comment.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. It is our pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. He is the CEO of the California Policy Center. He is also host of National Review's Radio Free California podcast. You can get him online at californiapolicycenter.org and follow him on X at Will Swaim. Will Swaim, welcome.
I cannot believe that you have put me in the way of getting to hear Katie Porter Yelp reviews. Like, can we just skip right to that part?
Well, it's not just a Yelp review, too. It's of a massage parlor. And what else, Randy, besides the massage parlor?
She also did a review of a Supercuts, and she also did a review of a place called Tony's Pizza.
Oh, my gosh. And, you know, she's a neighbor. So I'm waiting for her to review the cereal selection and the impossibly high shelves and the cereal section of our local Albertsons, where I see her frequently, like with a reaching stick, trying to knock down the cornflakes. She's something else. Man.
I wonder what Supercuts did to her.
Not enough. I'm sorry, that was mean.
All right, so there's so much to get to here. Let's start out with the story that we did yesterday about the Newsom family, specifically the first partner, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, and her connection to a group that provides diapers for Californians. Gavin Newsom made a big deal about the state spending money on diapers that would theoretically benefit poor or disadvantaged Californians who are having a difficult time purchasing them. And then as you start peeling the layers of the onion, or at least one reporter, our friend Julie Watts did, over at CBS in Sacramento, she found out that the contract for those diapers was very difficult to obtain. She still doesn't have it in her possession, despite the fact that the state of California is supposed to provide contracts with vendors. Then you find out this group that is providing the diapers is connected to Jennifer Siebel Newsom. You take that story and you put it together with what we know is going on right now, thanks to the Newsoms themselves, who said that they're being investigated by the federal government over business dealings involving the first partner. And you say to yourself, how much trouble is on the horizon for these two?
Yeah, I think what's the diaper story is just way too much fun, and we can laugh about that as eighth grade boys, maybe a little later. I think what's fascinating is that Newsom is fundraising off the idea that he claims Trump is investigating him. The important fact that's missing from his claim is that these investigations with federal investigators started under the Biden administration, not the Trump administration. And they were brought by federal investigators in Sacramento, not by somebody in Washington, D.C. So this has been going on, we now know, as of like the last week or 10 days, federal officials investigating the Newsom administration on multiple kinds of fraud claims, beginning in the Biden administration, right in Newsom's inner circle. So this is a little bit like Watergate, where the tape on the door at an office in a hotel opens up an entire conspiracy. This is how it starts. Newsom has made several missteps here. His consultants and his advisors have played fast and loose with the law. Now it's his wife. I mean, this thing is sprawling, and the only thing kind of keeping it off the radar is Californians' absolute determination to make Trump the center of every problem we experience.
A lot of people have reached out and said, I have a hard time believing that this story in particular is going to be a massive problem for Gavin Newsom because the Siebels come from serious money. They're a very wealthy family. Gavin Newsom is affiliated with the Getty family. They're the ones that have funded Plumpjack. They're the ones that have employed his father. They're the ones that have been very influential in his political career. They have access to all of this money. They don't need to have side hustles to make money so that they can live their lifestyle. And I think that that's wrong. And I say that because people frequently assume that other people have a lot more money than they actually do. And there's a difference between having proximity to wealth and having wealth yourself. And when you're a public official, you make whatever it is that the governor makes. And yes, of course, Nancy Pelosi and others in Congress have done quite well in the stock market, making money through other means. But that's not how it happens for most of them. Most of them have to show their taxes. They have to be transparent about where their income is coming from, all of those sorts of things. So I think it's entirely within the realm of possibilities that those two, to maintain their lifestyle of having a bunch of kids in private school and going on lavish vacations, all of those things, that they would have to find some sort of way to make additional funds.
Yeah, I think, John, you're right on. I think this is a feature of human character development. We've always, there's always been that old phrase, keeping up with the Joneses. When rich people are around people who are richer, that sparks a kind of avarice, a kind of greed or ambition, a desire simply to be like those people. And this is deep in human nature. I'm not suggesting that, the Newsoms are unique in this. I don't think you are either. But that explains why two people who come from money, despite Newsom's counterclaims, two people who come from real money are not satisfied with the money they've got. Just to take an example, I doubt that the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, is going to just start kicking it on the beach. These are people who want to be wealthier. And in Elon's case, in fact, he's adding value. So let's not compare him too closely to Newsom. So, yeah, I think that, the way that they have begun to operate is through the mechanism of what's called, and you know this, John, but through the mechanism of behested payments. That's where people with business before the governor do not give money directly to the governor because that would be way too obvious. And so what they do is they fund Newsom's other pet projects, foreign travel, going to meet Xi Jinping, or traveling through the Deep South to rally potential voters for 2028. Give the money to his wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, and what you get are transgender projects, documentaries about boys who want to be girls, et cetera, and she makes hundreds of thousands of dollars per year just from those kinds of gifts. So it's major corporations, major political interests who give money to nonprofits as a way of kind of laundering the cash so that it doesn't have the fingerprints of either the organization and it doesn't really end up immediately in the hands of Gavin Newsom, but in in the bank accounts. His money ends up in the bank accounts of his wife, for instance.
You know, as we get deeper and deeper into this midterm election, and you see the DSA candidates doing quite well in so many races around the country, and you look at Gavin Newsom, who was trying to portray himself as the inevitable establishment Democratic candidate for president, the consensus candidate that the party could rally behind. It seems, particularly when you combine it with his troubles right now with the federal government and various investigations into his dealings and his wife's dealings, it seems like he is zigging while the Democratic Party is zagging. Do you see it that way?
Yes and no. I'd love to know what evidence you're looking at. What I see is that on the one hand, he appears to be Mr. Moderate by opposing SEIU, Service Employees International Union, the wealth tax that they have successfully qualified for the November ballot. He opposes that for reasons we ought to talk about, because it's not on the merits. It's really something else. But his counter in opposing this was not, I oppose wealth taxes or I love billionaires. It was, no. This is an idea so good, we have to do it at the national level in order to be really successful in capturing the wealth of working billionaires. So I see that as a kind of a zigzag, like, hey, I oppose the state wealth tax, but the zag is, I like a billionaire tax at the federal level. What are you seeing, John?
Well, I see him as wanting to be Mr. Establishment Democrat when the Democratic voters do not want the establishment Democrats. They don't want Chuck Schumer. They don't want Goldman in the New York delegation. They don't want Karen Bass in Los Angeles. They want the DSA candidate that's going to burn the system down. And Gavin, I believe, as the chief campaign surrogate for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the last election, was trying to portray himself as a consensus Democrat that all of the factions of the party could get behind and that the donors would like and the unions would like and the party structure would like. He was that guy. But right now, it seems like their voters are moving in a direction where they're selecting candidates who are explicitly running against Chuck Schumer and running against the Democratic Party and running on subjects that the Democratic Party would probably prefer not to talk about, like Israel and other things. It seems like Gavin Newsom may try to portray himself as being that guy, but there's no authenticity there. He is an establishment Democrat to his core.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think there's lots of evidence to suggest that's correct. So, for example, his opposition to the wealth tax in California is supposed to signal that he's the real moderate guy in the room. But in fact, his opposition to the wealth tax is predicated on the fact that there are these other unions to which he is extraordinarily loyal, the teachers union, the prison guards, cops, firefighters, et cetera, but especially the teachers, CTA. And they want a cut of the action here. And if SEIU gets this wealth tax across the finish line, you have to get kind of in the weeds on this, it will diminish the general tax revenue, which will hurt every other union to whom Newsom owes real loyalty. So he's in a careful balancing act here. And I do think that he has tried to moderate some of the worst excesses, the Scott Wiener kinds of stuff that we could talk all day about. He has tried to moderate those things. He has opposed single-payer health care. And I think there's wisdom in this. I'm just going to say, you likely know much more about the national scene than I do. I'm just strictly a California guy. But my sense is a lot of the crazy in California is why the Democrats cannot win. When my Democrat friends ask, how could people vote for Trump? I say, how could you guys nominate Kamala Harris? How could you nominate crazy Democrats and progressives and DSA and Mandami and Nithya Raman and, continue the list. And the fact is that the Democrats keep losing because they cannot control their far left. So we get a guy like Donald Trump, and people like him a lot because he's not as crazy. There are a lot of people who hold their nose and vote for Trump because the Democrats are so out of touch. If Newsom really wants to win in 2028, doesn't he have to really cultivate Democrats in other states who tend to be more moderate than California Democrats? I'm asking.
Well, I see this battle as a battle that will really tell us a lot about what kind of future Gavin Newsom thinks he has in the Democratic Party. Because if he is actually going to campaign up and down the state against this wealth confiscation tax, yes, he'll do a solid for the teachers union and the prison guards union. But you look at the power that the SEIU has, not just in California, but nationally and within the Democratic Party. And that's an enemy he probably doesn't want in a Democratic primary for president. Now, if he just puts his name down on paper as being opposed to it and then doesn't really do much in terms of campaigning the way he did with Proposition 36 once he realized the writing was on the wall there, I think he can mend fences. But if he actually campaigns in a way that has an impact on the outcome and the SEIU doesn't get what they want, I think they're going to have it in for him. And I think this is going to be a Sicilian thing between him and the SEIU, and that's going to be a real problem for Mr. Gavin.
I think that's the title for the episode, the Sicilian thing. Yes, John, I think you've got it. But I think the good news for Newsom is he doesn't have to lift a finger to fight the wealth tax. It's really the teachers union that has the biggest stake in this fight. For them, keep in mind, by constitutional amendment, the teachers union gets about 40% of the general revenue budget every year. 40%, almost half of what we get in terms of tax revenue. And if that is driven down by the wealth tax, which you and I could dig into the math if you want, but it's pretty simple. If billionaires flee California to avoid a wealth tax, they will pay less in income tax because they're not here anymore. They will pay less. They will pay no income tax if they leave the state of California. That means that the denominator that the California Teachers Association is working on, that 40% that they're looking at, comes out of a smaller number. They don't want that. They want much more money. So do the prison guards, so do the cops, firefighters, the DMV workers, you name it. They all want more money. So I think Newsom could say, he could tick the box of, look at me, I'm a moderate, by saying, I'm opposed to this thing. And then, as you point out, not do anything to campaign against it. And when people really try to corner him, like, hey, why do you oppose the wealth tax? Oh, I don't. I support a national wealth tax, like that genius economist Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich. So I think you're right. I think this is, for him, the calculation is, I'm a moderate because I oppose it here. Don't ask me to campaign against it if you're the teachers union. You guys go out and spend. Remember, the teachers unions raise more than $500 million every election cycle. They can run this campaign all day long with one hand tied behind their back and promote their top marginal income tax rate of 13.3% at the same time. So I think he doesn't have to do anything.
All right. We're going to have to leave it there. Will Swaim, who is the CEO of the California Policy Center. He's also host of National Review's Radio Free California podcast. You can get him online at californiapolicycenter.org and follow him on X at Will Swaim. Will Swaim, thanks so much for stopping by.
I'm standing by for Katie Porter. Go, guys.
Right. And Randy, you're monitoring the likes that we're getting right now on the stream.
John has put out a challenge to you, the listening audience of KABC and KSFO and everywhere else that people are listening. If we can get our video feed at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio to 1,000 likes by 2:30, Johnny will start reading Katie Porter's Yelp reviews.
Get out of my shop.
We are currently at 352. Let's keep going, people.
It's the John Phillips Show.
Car accidents happen constantly. If you happen to get hurt in one for over 8 years, I've been recommending one guy, Clark Fielding in the jaws of justice at Fielding Law at 833-88-SHARK. That's 833-887-4275, 833-88-SHARK. Even a minor accident can lead to a major long-term injury, so don't go at this alone. Get the jaws of justice on your side, helping you out with your case. That's Clark Fielding at Fielding Law, 833-88-SHARK, 833-887-4275. Clark Fielding has got 5-star reviews on Yelp and Google. This is the guy you want in your corner helping you out with your case, so find out if you have one. Get a free consultation from Clark Fielding and the Jaws of Justice at Fielding Law at 833-88-SHARK, 833-887-4275, 833-88-SHARK, and go to the website clarkthesharklaw.com. That's where you can download the accident preparation guide, a handy little thing that I have in my glove box. Get it today at clarkthesharklaw.com.
Hurt in an accident? Bite back. Call Clark. 833-88-SHARK. clarkthesharklaw.com.
It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you can now watch the show live and participate in the chat and like the program as well.
The chat room is exploding right now at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio. You can also participate in the chats on Facebook and X, but the YouTube is blowing up because Johnny has put out a challenge. If we can get 1,000 likes on our YouTube channel at Randy Wang Radio, if you have any trouble finding it, email us. Johnny will start reading Katie Porter's Yelp reviews of a massage parlor.
The Fix California Hour continues in moments. Don't you go anywhere. Okay, let's get real. If you've been injured, car accident, motorcycle, slip and fall, the lawyer you choose matters. And I'm telling you right now to do your homework. Before you hire any personal injury attorney, pull out your phone, look them up, and read the reviews. Clark Fielding has successfully represented so many of our KABC listeners, and it shows. 5 stars on Google, 5 stars on Yelp. Now compare that to a lot of the big, heavy advertisers you see on the billboards. They're all over the map. Some good stars and plenty of bad ones. That should tell you something. When people are hurt, stressed, and vulnerable, reputation and results aren't optional. They're everything. If you've been injured and want real answers, call Clark Fielding at 833-88-SHARK. That's 833-88-SHARK. Or find him online at clarkthesharklaw.com for a free consultation. Look him up, read the reviews, then decide who you want on your side. That's Clark Fielding, the Jaws of Justice, 833-88-SHARK. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is a telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, we're almost at 400 likes.
So, look, we just started doing this YouTube thing about a week ago, and we're seeing so much response that even though John's challenge was so ambitious, we want to make sure that we put out realistic goals for ourselves. We really want to read these Katie Porter Yelp reviews at 2:30. Feel like it would be a lot of fun. And since we're already almost at 400 views or 400 likes, I can't even tell you how many views we're at. Probably a lot. But since we're already at 400 likes, if we can get to 500 by 2:30, we just need 100 more. We can do that. I believe in you. We're going to read those Katie Porter Yelp reviews. And as an added bonus, let me see if I can add this to the screen while we're doing the show. I've been working on something during that last segment, Johnny. I'm going to need a lot of time to play with this at home, but let me see what happens if I can just add a preview of what I'm trying to work on.
Dear Lord.
This is what happens when you add the Katie Porter story to AI and you say, try to make images of it, please.
The guy looks like Cam from Modern Family.
He kind of does. So far, I've put this story into the system several times, and it's created a couple of different images relating to the story. There is the guy getting made fun of by his friends, and let's see if it can also give us the image of this guy meeting Katie Porter.
Okay, it wasn't at a barbecue. It was at the Regal Beagle.
It's early technology. It's very new. I put out the bat signal to listener Tony, who is much smarter at all this AI stuff than I am, and we'll see if he has any ideas for us as to how exactly we can turn that Katie Porter story into a slideshow or a video with generative AI.
Well,
so we'll try to have that for you tomorrow if we can create anything from it.
He won't use one of the mainstream programs. He's going to go on the dark web, and it's going to be so sexually explicit, it's going to cause the Cumulus computer system to crash.
Well, we can't have that. It's got to be, Tony, it's got to be safe for air. It has to be classy. PG-13 at best.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to do a full heated rivalry here.
Why do you have to watch porn in the living room?
I just realized I should see what happens if I type into Gemini, Katie Porter watching heated rivalry on the couch.
Oh, my.
Maybe I'll do that during the break.
Maybe that's the reason nobody wants the data centers.
This is going to be the new feature of the live video of the John Phillips Show. People are just going to give us prompts to type into Google Gemini.
All right, it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
It's happened yet again.
I see. Time for the California Crime Blotter.
And surprise, surprise, this edition takes us to the town of Vallejo,
where a kid finally saved up enough money to get his dream car that was then stolen and stripped for parts. So sad. For more on this, we go to a story from our friends at KPIX in the Bay.
Giving up and buying your dream car is a big deal for basically anybody, especially teenagers who might be getting their first car. But imagine finally getting the keys before seeing that dream dashed. It is a story far too familiar for many Bay Area car owners. A Vallejo teen had worked for months to buy a car, only for thieves to steal it just a month later and then sell its parts on Facebook Marketplace.
I told you nothing good happens on Facebook Marketplace.
Now, this kid is going to end up on an e-bike, too.
Insult to injury, surely. Now, his mother is trying to bring awareness to a string of car thefts targeting a particular car. Andrea Anaconda.
I bet they use that Vallejo button for their map screen all the time.
What car do you think is being targeted?
I'll give you a spoiler alert. It's not a Kia.
Tells us about the tough life lessons this experience has taught her son.
Right here where this oil stain is where my son's car was parked.
An oil stain? Now, wait a minute. What kind of clunker, what kind of beater, what kind of death trap did she put him in?
It was missing.
Melissa Belici is talking about her son's car that he bought just a month ago.
He works at a restaurant. He makes minimum wage in this, in our county. And he saved up for like the last 4 months to save up $4,000 to buy his dream car.
Now, wait a minute. Look at that. Look at that. There's more oil on that pavement than in Lionel Richie's hair.
This report from KPIX, the volume is a little low, so I'm trying to boost it as much as I can, but just bear with us. There's only so much I can do when they upload the video at a very low volume.
I think I know what she got him.
What's that?
The Exxon Valdez.
The dream car was gone.
My son woke up Thursday morning to go to work. He walked outside and he turns around and he's like, "Mom, where's my car?"
The car is an Infiniti G37. Melissa Belici shared these pictures of the car. She believes the thieves followed her son home, then stole the car. She posted the pictures all over social media, hoping the car would be found.
I was crying yesterday because I was holding on to something that maybe the car, I was just praying that, maybe the car would be found and, maybe, just maybe, they just drove it around and
that's not what happens.
Oh, no. No.
A little minor damage that we could work on getting fixed.
Someone who saw her post found the car, but it was totally gutted. Engine gone, tires gone. There was nothing left for Belechi's son to salvage.
Our kids have saved up and are good kids and trying to just be upstanding citizens, and then you have people who are low life, sorry to say, and just,
whoa,
you know.
They picked that car clean. Did you see that? The only thing they left was an empty can of beer. You see it?
My goodness. I think that's an oil can. And what looks like a dog poop bag. What the hell?
Trying to just be upstanding citizens, and then you have people who are low life, sorry to say, and just, you know, don't care.
Belechi says she also heard from a neighbor that their son's G37 was stolen last week, and the missing parts were posted on an online marketplace. Belechi has started an online fundraiser to help her son recoup the cost of the car. She says their insurance wouldn't cover it since the car had a salvage title.
Wait, they bought a salvage car?
This woman is going to turn into Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. Normally, the victims don't want to be shown on camera. This woman is not only shown on camera, she's being interviewed by the reporter, and she's walking with purpose.
Family has learned several lessons from this experience, but one in particular.
It's your dream car, you know, but just really be careful with your surroundings. That was the main thing I had to tell my son. Just like watch when you leave work, watch who's following you, pay attention. Just because he told me, no one's going to steal my car, Mom, we live in a good neighborhood. And I'm like, they don't go to the ghetto to steal cars.
Now, what do you think the odds are she's going to be a vigilante and she's going to find these people selling the parts and she's going to say, all right, I'm in the market for what you got. Let's go ahead and meet somewhere and we'll conduct the transaction. And then she's going to pull a weapon on them.
Or let's say she meets them in a shady alley to buy the brake pads, and then she uses the brake pads on them as a weapon. There you go.
It's possible.
This is where they come.
So far, Melissa's fundraiser online has raised $540, which is short of their $2,200 goal.
So for $2,200, they bought a salvaged car that got stolen immediately and stripped for parts.
What's next? Is she going to get him a car that they use for the crash test dummies?
Somebody on YouTube writes, is that Katie Porter's sister? That's not nice.
No.
As soon as we started introducing Katie into the chat, it's gotten a little out of control. I mean, I'm here for it, but it's gotten a little out of control.
Well, it's like what they say, Randy. Sometimes you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Speaking of which, while we did that segment, Google Gemini created this image of Katie Porter watching Heated Rivalry.
Okay, they cleaned it up a bit.
Well, they won't let you, do super explicit things. So this is just kind of a base representation as she's sitting on the couch with popcorn and what looks like a beer as she watches two hockey players go at it.
No, that's not a beer. That's moonshine.
Oh, boy.
Why do you have to watch porn in the living room?
All right, Randy, how are we with the likes?
All right, we are putting out the goal. If we can get 500 likes by 2:30, we will read Katie Porter's very, 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 very explicit Yelp reviews. And by explicit, I mean that she's mad. We are currently at 427. We need 73 more likes at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio to read you that story. Katie Porter, Yelp review in the massage parlor. Katie Porter, Yelp review in Supercuts.
Hello, everybody.
And Katie Porter putting out a Yelp review at a place called Tony's Pizza.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Look at what Mark just put in chat. He said maybe she can get him a minivan from Katie. Can you imagine what that minivan would say if it could talk?
Oh, don't give me more ideas to put into AI.
It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com.
What's that? What's the matter, Johnny? Did we lose you?
No, I know what happened. I just started hearing music in my ears. It's because I have the YouTube version of the program up and I forgot to hit pause.
We'll start reverberating. Well, there's only one way to transition from that awkwardness. Here is an AI-generated picture of Katie Porter cleaning her minivan.
Well, it looks exactly like what I expected, to be quite honest with you.
All I said was Katie Porter cleaning her minivan. I don't know where all the food wrappers came from.
Now, how are we doing on likes?
All right, so John Phillips has put out a challenge to you, the loyal audience of the John Phillips Show. If we can get to 500 likes in our YouTube channel, that's youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio, today's broadcast. If we can get up to 500 likes by 2:30, we're going to do a very special segment about former Orange County Congresswoman Katie Porter, because the website lamaterial.com has put out Yelp reviews written by politicians, and they've got a whole bunch from Katie Porter, including Katie Porter reviewing a massage parlor. Our current like hit is at 450, so we need 50 more likes at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio, and you're going to get to hear John Phillips himself recite Katie Porter in her own words as to what she has to say about a massage parlor and a pizza place and even Supercuts.
Get out of my shop.
I wonder if she went to Supercuts and said, "Make me look like Whoopi Goldberg." And then they gave her a different cut. When she was in Congress, she had a pretty short cut. Remember that?
Yes, she did. Leroy writes in on YouTube, "Try again, Randy. Not messy enough." We'll have to start doing these kind of contests. There's so much we can do with this video thing. Like, you know, I'm not exclusive to the AI generation. You can create your own AI pictures as long as they're safe. If there's something that you would see on cable television, we're okay. And then email them to us, and if they're good, we'll put them on the screen. It's like a caption contest in 2026.
Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll give you an update on the fire in Boyle Heights. The Reader's Digest version, the smell is getting worse.
You can smell it right here.
But right now, it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
It's happened yet again.
It's Wild Wild West out here.
It's the California Crime Blotter with John
and Randy.
And surprise, surprise, this one's taking us to Oakland.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
Oakland says crime is down. Barbara Lee just named a new police chief. James Beer, the interim police chief, got the job full time because she doesn't want to run as somebody who doesn't have a police chief, because that doesn't go well for certain mayors.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But it's hard to say crime is down when there's so much violence happening in Oakland every weekend. For more on this, here is KTVU Fox 2.
Now at 10, combating Oakland crime. Police rescue a woman kidnapped at gunpoint. But tonight, a homicide and triple shooting are still leaving some neighbors on edge.
Crime is down.
Oh, yeah. Can't you tell?
Everybody knows that we need more police on the street.
We ensure that the police department has the resources that it needs.
It does not have the resources it needs.
This councilwoman is on all of the local news reports with a look of concern on her face because they're all about crime.
To combat this crime.
City leaders confronting a crime rate that is not falling evenly across all neighborhoods. Good evening. I'm Greg Lee.
And I'm Claudine Wong. The data may tell one story, but feeling safe is another. And it's an issue Oakland leaders have faced time and time again.
New at 10, KTVU's Amber Lee live in Oakland after asking Oakland residents what they are experiencing. Amber?
Greg, they tell me they have mixed reaction to the recent violence. Some say they feel safe. Others tell me they will remain vigilant. Shattered glass at Lux Express, a smoke shop on International Boulevard in East.
Hey, that's where all the prostitution is.
I wonder if they're selling whippets too.
Of course they are. Everything at a smoke shop is something that really shouldn't be legal, whether it's Kratom, K2, whippets, all kinds of things that if you go into a smoke shop, very few people are actually buying tobacco.
I think if I owned a smoke shop, I would name it Everything You Can't Get Through TSA.
Gravity writes in from YouTube, the crime is down everywhere unless you have a body to cover up.
East Oakland is evidence of a triple shooting that took place shortly after 4:30 Tuesday morning. 3 people were injured in the incident, and one of them has been arrested. A trouble spot and a possible front for illegal activity, according to Charlene Wong, the city council member who represents the neighborhood.
It's just an ongoing challenge for that area. It's gambling shacks, human trafficking. It could be human trafficking related. We don't know. So
that was pretty scantily clad on International
Whoa.
Boulevard. Usually they blur that out. They blurred out her top, but not her bottom. So how explicit was the top?
I guess they have to find a way to separate themselves from the transgendered ones, so she figured out a way to do it.
it's, again, an ongoing investigation. There's a lot of just underground economy activity on that whole corridor, and it really, I'm trying to clean it up and stop it.
Less than 2 hours later, at 6:15 on Tuesday morning, a 47-year-old man was shot and killed while walking his dog in the East Oakland Hills. Still, some residents say crime numbers are down and that the city is headed in the right direction.
I feel safe in Oakland. I know to be situationally aware. I love Oakland.
You sound safe.
Who the hell is this idiot?
I feel safe. I go where I want to go.
One resident shared with us surveillance video of an incident that
She just get out of the shower?
Police described as an armed kidnapping in the Laurel District. Investigators say on Friday night around 9:30, a man struck a woman with a firearm and forced her into a dark-colored 4-door sedan and drove off.
Whoa.
Probably a Kia.
You know what they call that?
What do they call that?
One thing Graham Plattner hasn't been accused of.
Safe. Griselda Alva says Friday's incident and other crimes, such as drug dealing, sideshows, and close calls with speeding vehicles in the area, are ongoing problems.
But don't you worry, guys. Crime is down in the city of Oakland.
Oh, yeah. If you were smart enough to understand statistics, you'd know that in Oakland, you're safe. All right, we've got one more hour coming up. We'll give you an update on the nasty stench in Boyle Heights. Don't you go anywhere.
Headlines with the right context. It's the John Phillips Show.
And we continue at 2:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, I think according to the listeners who are watching us, or I guess we now have viewers at the Randy Wang Radio YouTube channel, we just hit 500 likes on today's video. That is massive. You know how many likes we had on yesterday's video? 50. Thank you all so much for doing it. And as a thank you, at 2:30, we are fulfilling our promise. We're going to read Katie Porter's Yelp reviews. And I have an added little treat for everybody. During the break, I wanted to see what it would look like if I uploaded a Shang Tao drop to Google Gemini and see what it creates. And here's what it came up with.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
They gave her the John and Kate +8 haircut, though. They turned her into a Karen.
Yeah. Well, you know what that is? It's because she's not as popular on the internet as Katie. They can do Katie pretty much exactly as she looks like, specifically like pre-Ozempic. But Shangy's not that popular yet. So maybe what we need to do is someone needs to just start uploading all kinds of footage to generative AI of Shang Yi Tao.
Shang with that haircut looks like she's about ready to read the news.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what? In a couple of years, the AI will be so advanced that we could probably create our own Shang Tao news reporter.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but things only get worse in Boyle Heights. And by things, I mean the smell.
Once again, it's time for our recurring segment titled...
You can smell it right here.
...where we cover the awful odor still emanating from the burned-out food warehouse in Boyle Heights. And this situation's not getting any better anytime soon. For more on this, we go to CBS Los Angeles.
That heat today is not helping with the
That's the other problem. It's one thing when this fire broke out, but we're in the middle of a heat wave in Los Angeles, which means that everything is getting real rancid real fast.
Rancid pig's feet on the grill.
Terrible smell.
We wait till 2 o'clock to do this story because we want to make sure people have the first 2 hours to enjoy their lunch.
From the massive warehouse fire in Boyle Heights, which is making life miserable for thousands of people weeks after the flames were put out.
CBS LA's Lucelia Caballero is live where frustrations continue to grow for those who live nearby. And Lucelia, they say...
I love that every single news reporter who has to go down there to do a live shot looks like that they're broadcasting from Chernobyl.
Well, you know, the news stations probably had all of this extra gear from the COVID days. They're just looking to use it all up.
Well, just imagine living down there, though, where that smell is just always there and getting worse and worse and worse, and you can't ever escape it. You know what I think is going to happen?
What's that?
I think those abuelas in the neighborhood are going to get on a plane and go to Wuhan, China, and start licking doorknobs so they will lose their sense of smell.
Slow response from city and state leaders.
Yeah, and a lot of them still telling us that they need air purifiers, that they go to events, but by the time they get there after work, none are available to them.
We don't even have enough air purifiers for these people, even though they don't really do anything.
Boy, they're really on their own, aren't they?
How about when they're spraying the big Lysol cans into the sky? What's that doing?
Run out. And as far as the smell, yes, it's hot outside. We are upwind, so the smell isn't as potent, but you go down the street where the warehouse is and a couple blocks down there where you can clearly see that they're working on covering the warehouse up. The smell is truly unbearable.
God.
You can smell it right here.
It's plastic. Go into your garbage, put your head in your garbage can, smell it for 7 days a week, and you tell me how you feel about that.
Whoa.
I'm telling you, she's going to be in first class on the way to Wuhan.
She's mad as hell and she can't take it anymore. Put your head in the trash 24/7 and tell me how you like it.
That's what it smells like.
Oh, boy.
The smell hits you almost immediately.
Why have there been so many environmental disasters under Karen Bass's watch?
Well, and we can't even blame the Tijuana River on her.
No, that's a whole other situation.
Those who live and work in Boyle Heights in East Los Angeles, like Antonia Montes with the community group Eastside Padres contra la Privatización, say the foul...
Whoa, how many names are in that title?
I'm only at level 15 on Duolingo, so I only understood about half of those.
Well, the problem is it's so long you have to take a breath before you can finish it, and you don't really want to do that there.
No, you don't.
Like Antonia Montes with the community group Eastside Padres contra la Privatización.
Isla Padres con la Privat... I don't know, I lost it. I'm not that good at Spanish yet.
You tried.
I'm trying.
Say the foul...
You know what I know how to say? Vino tinto, por favor.
You know what I'd say if I lived there? Adios.
Hanging over their neighborhoods has become an inescapable part of daily life.
Children, the parents, the elderly are stuck in their houses with the constant stench.
It's coming from this nearly 500,000 square foot Lineage Logistics cold storage warehouse.
How come every time they're like, oh, we put a tarp over it, there's giant gaping holes in the tarp, and that means the smell is not trapped?
Yeah, can they find a tarp that doesn't look like Swiss cheese?
Although I guess you're looking for a tarp for a 500,000 square foot warehouse. I don't know where you get that.
China, along with everything else.
On Union Pacific Avenue, where a massive fire broke out on June 17th. Now, an estimated 85 million pounds of previously frozen food are left to spoil and rot inside the building, part of which has now been wrapped with a protective covering.
Partially.
Wrapped with a defective covering.
It's like they took someone with a gigantic thing of saran wrap and was just like, this'll do it.
Do you think they put it up with the hole in it, or do you think that the hole ended up there due to something that happened after they put it up?
Oh, that's possible too. Like it's split down the middle like my old pants.
Well, just imagine living in the neighborhood and they go, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to do something about this. We're going to put a tarp up. And then you see them in the process of putting the tarp up and you go, hey, how about a tarp without a hole in it?
It's just horrendous, and it's unfair to these families.
It's pretty bad.
Neighbors say the odor is only part of the problem.
Yeah, I noticed that there has been like a rat infestation.
We have...
Oh, boy.
Boy, these people just can't catch a break.
No, this is a disaster zone, and it's getting worse by the day. And I know it wasn't a government warehouse, but it sure seems that nobody is getting the private companies to work together to clean up this mess. In fact, the company with the solar panels told the company with the refrigerators, we need you to stop cleaning out the stuff because we're still investigating how this fire started that we caused.
Well, how about this? Isn't the government supposed to regulate all this so that this doesn't happen?
Nah.
The humongous flies everywhere, destroying all the neighbors' plants.
All of which they believe.
Boy, we are creating like brand new species from this disaster. Danny writes in, I like this comment about sticking your head in the trash 24/7. What a nightmare these people are going through. Yikes.
You ever go on vacation where you forget to take the trash out of the kitchen and there's something like a banana peel in there? And then you come back after it's been sitting there for a week and you curse yourself for not having taken it out before you left. But even after you take the trash out, that stench is still in the kitchen for quite some time. And it drives you nuts. This is that on steroids.
There is one thing that sticks out in my head. In 2007, so something that happened almost 20 years ago, I was going to go on a health kick. Instead of eating McDonald's twice a day, who are we kidding, 4 times a day, I was going to start buying meat and cooking it on my stove every single day. So I went to my local Ralph's, and I'm like, hey, what's on sale? Because I was, working in radio, not making a whole lot of money here. They said, we've got shark meat for $2 a pound. I said, I've never had shark meat. Now, mind you, this is me before I met my wife, me who didn't know how to cook. So I gave myself food poisoning from the shark. The shark meat that I could not eat, I left to fester in the kitchen, and my apartment smelled like rotting shark for a week.
Oh, my God.
That's a true story.
Are connected to the decomposing.
You know what I learned? You know what the moral was for me from that?
Go back to eating McDonald's.
Yes.
Food.
And we have the families that just don't know what to do. They're just sitting there having to deal with all this.
Those frustrations also being voiced during a private community meeting at Resurrection Church in
Well, wait a
East
minute.
LA.
How come that lady didn't have a mask on?
Maybe she's just used to it now.
Now, wait a minute. If I lived in that area and I thought at some point there would be a lawsuit that would result because of all of this, you better believe there would not be a photograph of me in public without wearing a mask anytime I stepped out of my house. But I guess maybe you just go numb after a while where that woman just can't smell anything anymore. She's just going bareback.
B. Waters writes in on YouTube, as soon as they can make a Temu an NGO, they'll order their own tarp.
Where people demanded more resources and faster action from local agencies.
We need some information and some help for the whole community. Because, you know, this is the big deal in there.
Francisco Gallegos has lived in East LA for 63 years.
See, this is another part of this story. Part of, the warehouse itself is in Boyle Heights, but Boyle Heights is right on the edge of city limits. And so a lot of the surrounding neighborhood that is suffering through this lives in unincorporated East LA, which means that your mayor is not Karen Bass as bad as she is.
It's not a namsy-pamsy thing.
Your mayor is Hilda Solis.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay, but this guy is an elderly gentleman who's obviously right in the thick of it. He's not wearing a mask either. Shouldn't he be in a hazmat suit?
He says East LA is being overlooked because the unincorporated community lacks the same level of attention neighboring cities get, saying they need
more representation.
At this time, one thing is clear. Community members want action, and
we don't want them here. We want housing for our families. We want transparency. We want an environmental study, and we need it all done now.
Yeah, who's going to build an apartment on that war zone?
Yeah. Imagine being the realtor that has to show that.
We're going to build all kinds of high rises right on top of the rotting pig's feet. You want to talk about a cursed building?
And we are on Los Palos Street, which leads to
Is that a rat trap?
It is. And I really don't want to be the city worker that has to change those out.
How many times a day do you think they have to do it?
I got to move on.
You can see a line of traps for rodents, for rats, and that's the case for...
Wait, they're like 10 feet apart.
There's a lot of rats.
Streets neighboring this warehouse. That is just the reality that people are facing here. As far as what is going to happen tomorrow, at 6:30, there will be a Boyle Heights town hall. People are invited to go and share their concerns. Montes, which you met a couple of minutes ago, who is with that grassroots movement, says that they are rallying the community. They are asking for folks to meet at
I don't know if you're going to get a whole lot of people wanting to do an outdoor rally with this stench.
Yeah, you might want to make this one a road game.
Puerta and Olympic at 5:45 so they can rally and walk to that town hall together to express their concerns and voice their ailments. Reporting live in Boyle Heights, Lustelia Caballero, CBS LA.
How happy is Pat in this shot that she's behind the anchor's desk and not a reporter?
Oh, if the assignment editor said, okay, your job today and every day for the next 3 weeks is to report on the fire in Boyle Heights, I'd go to the union.
We got a comment here on the chat from Transit Planner. Boyle Heights is in the city of LA. I wonder which council member that is. I'm guessing DSA. You're right. That's Isabel Jurado, the lady that knocked out Kevin De Leon.
It is hot as hell.
And she is full on DSA.
Now, when I was a child, my mother used to play in a bowling league at the local bowling alley. And that was back in the old days in California when you could still smoke inside at places like bowling alleys. And I would be put to bed at 9 o'clock and she would get home after. I could tell when she got home from the bowling alley without my bedroom door opening because I could smell the cigarette smoke on her clothes. And she doesn't even smoke.
Oh, my.
But just everyone in the bowling alley smoked. So every article of clothing that she had on her smelled like a mixture of a non-smoking hotel room in Laughlin, Nevada, and Lucille Ball's lungs. And I don't know if she was able to wash it out or she just had to throw the clothes away. But the stench was so strong, you could smell it throughout the house. And we had a 4-bedroom house. And it worked its way through. What do you think happens to their clothes in Boyle Heights if you had to smell that 24/7?
Oh, I think it's a burn everything situation. So the people that are suffering in these neighborhoods, they don't just need gas masks. They don't just need air purifiers and Lysol. They're also going to need a whole new wardrobe after this thing is over.
But the idea of giving someone an air purifier when you have that going on in the neighborhood, I mean, that would be like the EMT showing up to Nicole Brown Simpson's house and giving her a Band-Aid. What's that going to do?
What's going on, America?
Boy, OJ's getting all kinds of references this week on this show.
Oh, yeah. It's like he never left.
Hey, look at this. We got a comment from our buddy Mike Netter. What does DSA stand for? Don't smell the air?
Man. I understand that it's expensive to live in California. I really do. But there have to be areas that are cheaper than that.
This is a big rent-controlled part of Los Angeles, I'll tell you that.
Okay, I know everyone says that Barstow's the armpit of America. And believe me, I live not far away from there. I would rather live in Barstow 10 times out of 10 than live through that.
Barstow's got the original Del Taco.
I know, but it's probably cheaper than Boyle Heights.
Way cheaper. Problem is, if you lived in Barstow, you'd be 2 hours away from Vegas, and that's dangerous.
I'd have that ultimate ex-poker on my mind. And Prim, Nevada is no longer going out of business, so I'd have that too.
Yeah, what happened there? Terribles ended up buying up the other casinos?
Well, yeah, I think so. They used to have a booming business there, and then that kid got murdered, and then everything went to hell with that. And I think they had to change the name. It used to be the Prima Donna, and then they changed it to Prim.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. All right, so that's the latest in Boyle Heights. It's the John Phillips Show. It's time to talk about CarPro.com. Listener Robert contacted Tustin Hyundai because they're an authorized CarPro dealership. He wanted the transparency and structure that CarPro.com is known for providing. After reaching out, General Manager Frank stepped in personally. Frank applied the CarPro.com discount along with a $4,000 manufacturer lease incentive and handled everything clearly through email. When Robert arrived, sales manager Rick was completely prepared with all the details, no re-explaining needed. Rick introduced him to Marcos, who made the test drive and delivery process smooth and professional. Robert says it was exactly what CarPro promises. No games, transparent pricing, respect for his time. He highly recommends Tustin Hyundai to other listeners looking for a straightforward car buying experience. If you want this kind of VIP treatment and amazing pricing, go to carpro.com, enter all your info, or call or text message Tom Haynes, the Big Cheese, directly at 818-435-6797. It's 2:27 on the John Phillips Show. And a lot of people in chat are making fun of my haircut, Randy.
Yes, it's happening almost constantly. Like listener John writes in, John's haircut looks like it was done by a 1930s German prison guard. And Dave writes in, John, your hair is getting a lot of attention. Please explain, were you drunk and bored?
Hey, if it was 110 degrees where you lived, you'd want the Susan Powder cut too.
Mark writes in, did Katie cut John's hair at the same time that she was cutting carrots?
Sorry for the noise. I'm cutting carrots.
You know what did happen? When the guy was cutting my hair this morning, I did get 30 consecutive minutes of conspiracy theory on what happened to Nancy or Savannah Guthrie's mother.
Oh, my.
And I was there for it. But maybe in retrospect, I should have told him to focus on the hair.
Who was the lady that did like live music at brunch that started talking about, hey, I've got a lot of conspiracy theories for you?
Oh, yeah. We used to have this jazz brunch in town. And this woman who used to wear these boxers satin robes, and she had a rat tail, and she wore dark glasses on the tip of her nose, like Paul Schaefer from the CBS Orchestra, would go through conspiracy theories as old people were eating their breakfast, including one that the Queen of England was the world's most prolific rapist, which was a doozy.
Oh, boy.
All right, the Katie Porter story's up next. It's the John Phillips Show.
Hey, everybody, it's time for the Weekend Review, brought to you by our friends at Sterling Venue Ventures and where music meets the soul.com. Sterling Venue Ventures, your local concert promoter, has some great entertainment coming your way. This Friday, July 10th, Bobby Brown is going to be at the Saban Theater. Every Little Step, that's my favorite Bobby Brown song. And coming to the Canyon in Agora Hills, Thelma Houston, Too Short, Ambrosia, Pancho Sanchez, Young Dubliners, Orianthi, Asleep at the Wheel, Danny Serafine, Chicago Legacy, Henry Capono, Oingo Boingo, former members, and more. And coming soon to the Oxnard Performing Arts Center, Psychedelic Furs, John B. and Kenny Lattimore, Louis the Singer, and more. For information on these great events and more, go to the website where musicmeetsthesoul.com. That's where musicmeetsthesoul.com. Get some great affordable tickets at where musicmeetsthesoul.com.
It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, the participation, I think, has eclipsed just about every other show that we've done so far in the chat.
The participation has exploded because so many people want to hear these Katie Porter Yelp reviews. So thank you so much for everyone that is currently watching us on the YouTube at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio. If you cannot find that feed, just email us. I've already sent it to a ton of people. We got 528 likes in the last 2.5 hours. So thank you so much. It literally, this is how the YouTube algorithm works. When they see that much engagement, especially with the chat, with the live feed, and with the likes, they start pushing us out to more places, and this show can grow bigger and bigger. So, Johnny, as soon as I do this giveaway, we have a very special treat because you put up the challenge and the audience delivered. But before we get to that, because I keep forgetting to tell you we need to do this, 790 KABC welcomes Chris Young with special guest Shailene at the Pacific Amphitheater at the OC Fair on July 18th. Tickets are on sale now at pacamp.com. But right now, call in number 9 at 1-888-790-5222. Gets a pair of tickets to the show. All concert tickets include admission to the OC Fair. Tickets furnished by the Pacific Amphitheater. Good luck dialing.
And don't forget, we also have an accountability podcast that dropped yesterday.
The Accountability Podcast with John Phillips and Randy Wang.
Accountability.
Another channel we would love for you to subscribe to is our Accountability Podcast. And in fact, if I could figure out what I did with my phone, I could tell you how many subscribers we have. But go to youtube.com/@accountability podcast. Listen and watch our latest episode where we talk about Costco's standalone gas station. We talk about the insurance crisis. And of course, we talk about San Francisco trying to ban whippets in the city. We've got 252 subscribers, so please subscribe to that YouTube channel. If you want to just listen to it, you could do so by searching for the Accountability Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Randy, we put out a challenge. The audience met that challenge, and now it's time for us to pay up.
Okay, so a listener actually emailed us this early this morning. Now, I already subscribed to LA Material, which is an independent news site, which I think was started by some people that used to be at the LA Times. And they put together a list of all these different politicians throughout the state of California and their Yelp reviews. And you can search through their little thing at LA Material, which, by the way, all you need to do is subscribe for free, and they'll let you on this website. You can see Karen Bass's Yelp reviews, Lindsay Horvath's Yelp reviews, but what caught our attention was Katie Porter's Yelp reviews. So, Johnny, Katie Porter, on October 1st, 2017, wrote a Yelp review for 1 star to a personal care facility called Massage Heights.
Now, wait a minute. Massage Heights, is that one of these massage parlors that's on the up and up? Or was Katie going there looking for illicit activity?
I am looking up right now, Massage Heights in Irvine. Oh, it's closed. They got shut down.
Uh-oh.
I don't imagine that this is the kind of place that has like black bars on the windows and a flashing open sign and their hours are at 11 o'clock at night. But if you want to imagine it was that, you can do that. But Johnny, you want to go ahead and read us what Katie Porter, former Orange County Congresswoman, former Senate candidate, former governor candidate, had to say about this massage parlor?
Well, you're going to have to do it because I can't get beyond the paywall.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess I'll read it.
Do you want to lower the lights to set the mood for Katie in the massage parlor?
Okay, let me do that.
Quick, someone light a cigarette in there.
All right, we got some more romantic lighting in the studio. We want to make sure. Oh, actually, this lighting looks even better in here now. Note that almost 1/3 of reviews written are not recommended. Management is hiding a serious problem. I was a member here for over 6 years, so consider my depth of experience with this place and how you judge this review.
Oh, I can tell the Karen vibes from the first two sentences.
Paul!
Some of the folks who have worked here in recent years were amazing. You'll see a lot of messages of Chris and Arlene. Neither work here anymore, and the departures seem to be handled terribly by the franchise owner, Bill. When someone leaves, often because they are moving or going back to school, Massage Heights will call and say the person violated a policy or quit without notice, when in fact that is not the case. This impugns the therapist's reputation. Wow, we're using $10 words in this Yelp review. I have seen this on at least 3 separate occasions. I know in at least 2 instances that the therapist gave 2 weeks' notice and planned to work the remaining appointments, but Massage Heights fired them by canceling all their appointments. Not only is that illegal in California to require employers to give notice but then not pay them for the notice period, it makes it difficult for them to get a recommendation for another therapist from the person who has been working with you. While the staff are very nice, they are put in a horrible position by the inconsiderate franchise owner, Bill. When I finally had enough of the nonsense and canceled my membership, Bill called to ask if I would continue. When I raised my concerns, he blamed the therapist. I tried to use my last prepaid appointments, but how many massages was she getting?
Apparently a lot.
But even then can I use that phrase yes, I think I can use this phrase when talking about being screwed over by a company. I tried to use my last prepaid appointments, but even then was jerked around. The therapist was changed without explanation. Another no longer. How much turnover is at this massage parlor? But on my last appointment, for which I took time off from work to have. Wait, she took a day off of work to get a massage?
Well, maybe she threw her back out when she dumped all those potatoes on her ex-husband's head.
No!
The therapist didn't show up at all. When I contacted Bill to complain, he said, "It's bad when this happens, but we are both in the same situation." I explained that we were not. I have paid for services that I am not receiving, and he's making a profit that he has not earned. This is the longest review I've ever read in my life.
Well, maybe those therapists really knew how to get the knots out.
If you want consistent, good service and want to patronize a place that treats employees with respect, I would never recommend this. I cannot continue in good conscience to be a patron, even though it's a very convenient location and a nice facility. No good therapist would stay there, and none of them have. So read the reviews with a grain of salt, knowing that the poor management here has resulted in virtually everyone leaving. And BT Dub, after I posted this, Bill called up and left me a message saying that I had slandered him and his business, tauntingly asking, "What are you, a lawyer?" Yes, in fact, I am. One that did not get a massage that she paid for. That is Katie Porter's review of the massage parlor.
Okay. Now, let's just say that you were working at that massage parlor. And let's just say, for argument's sake, that you weren't Bill. You weren't the owner. You're just an on-the-line masseuse at this particular spa. And they go, "Okay, we got a live one for you, Randy. Sitting in room 4 is your next client. She's a frequent flyer, as they say. And she's nude and on the table and ready to go." What would your approach be as the massage therapist? Would this be one of those ones where you got out the hot stones and you figure, okay, we're just going to let the stones do their work?
Maybe it needs to be one of those Can of Bliss massages where you put the pot butter on the back and it starts calming you down as you're massaging it into your skin.
What if they had one of those bars in the middle of the room where you can just walk on her back and it just sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies as everything is cracking?
You think she likes the 4'10" Thai woman to walk on her back for a massage?
You know what I think she likes? I think she likes it when you do the karate chops because then it feels like you're cutting carrots.
Sorry for the noise. I'm cutting carrots.
So that's what Katie Porter had to say about the massage parlor. She did have a very positive experience with Pacific Ocean Carpet and Tile Cleaning. 5-star review at Baseballology. A 5-star review at Melody Childcare. And not a very good review for Tony Pepperoni Pizzeria.
Uh-oh, what does she have against Tony? Maybe she hates him like she hates Bill.
Get out of my shop.
Horrible service on delivery. This was July 31st, 2013. I ordered at 4:39. I am told 35 to 40 minutes. I called to check at 40 minutes. Driver on way. Boy, she turned into a caveman with this one. I call again at 5:31, 52 minutes later. He says, driver will call me. He doesn't. I have 20 angry, hungry kids. Pizza was decent when it arrived, but allow ample time.
Now, wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that in the middle of the afternoon, she ordered enough pizza for 21 people and she's claiming that she has 20 kids?
Maybe it was a birthday party.
At 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
It's possible.
She's blaming the kids for ordering that much pizza?
Took him a long time to get there, apparently.
What do you think the odds are she was by herself?
Now, there's one other Katie Porter review that we should explore here. Again, this is all coming from the website lamaterial.com, as they compiled a whole bunch of different politicians and actual Yelp reviews that they left. Of course, we found out about this because someone emailed it to us because they've got Katie Porter's.
20 kids. Like I was born yesterday.
Katie Porter also had a 1-star experience with Irvine Yellow Cab on July 31st, 2013, which was the exact same day as she wrote the review about Tony's Pizza. So she was on a tear.
I wonder what happened to her that day.
I had a horrible experience with this company. I called the night before to book the cab for 6 a.m. At 6:03, no cab. So I called to check, 5 minutes away. Called again at 6:11, put on hold and disconnected. 6:15, told that original driver had never responded to the call, so they'd try someone else. It would be 5 minutes. 6:28, reinstalled 3 kids' car seats, loaded luggage in my car, and drove frantically to SNA. I was parked and trying to lug up my 3 preschoolers and our stuff through the parking lot for a 7:15 flight when at 6:35, the driver says he's a few blocks from my house. Ludicrous! I would have missed my flight for it being delayed. I will never use this company again.
Okay, so the same day she's claiming she has 20 kids at her house when she ordered all that pizza, in a separate review on the same day, she claims she has 3 kids. I told you.
Well, now let's just remember here. The day that these incidents happen may not be the day that she wrote the Yelp reviews. She may have gotten 2 feet deep into a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon and decided that she needed to write some reviews on the old Yelps to let off some steam because she can't go to her massage parlor anymore.
Well, not even Octomom has 20 kids. Not Octomom, not Carol Brady, not Ethel Kennedy. She has 3.
Katie Porter, in October of 2011, went to Supercuts, and she left a 1-star review. And I'd be surprised if there were any 5-star reviews at Supercuts, or as my buddy used to call it, super disappointments. Here's at least one major problem with this place. and why I marked it appointments only. I showed up for a simple haircut for my son at 6:40 on a Saturday, and okay, like everything else in Irvine, they close ridiculously early at 7 p.m. Accurate. If they had simply told me they could not do it, I probably would have moved on. Instead, I waited around for 5 minutes while some woman decides what color tomato red hair she should be, and then when I asked, am I told that they don't have time to do it before they're closed? Okay, I probably would have moved on. But then some guy walks in at that point, and they have time to cut his hair because he called to tell them he was on his way. WTF. So there's a secret system for supercuts. I ask if I can make an appointment for tomorrow, but no, they don't take appointments, only phone calls when you're on your way. Geez, it's not a nightclub. It's a stupid chain haircut. I'll take my children elsewhere, BTW. When I called a few other supercuts, all which closed at 7 o'clock, they were at least nice to me. And there you have it. Katie Porter and her Yelp reviews as detailed by the reporting over at lamaterial.com. That was your reward for liking our live stream that we do every single day at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio. We are now up to 541 likes. So thank you so much.
That woman is one great big boiling cauldron of rage.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
She's in danger of spilling over at any moment.
Wait, we got a message from Alan. That was Johnny who walked into Supercuts.
Oh, could you imagine?
B writes in, you had her at tomato.
It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com.
Although, if you want to play in the chat room, it's a way quicker way to get our attention. Like Dave writing in, did John do a Yelp review for his barber today? You know, it's funny. I'm looking through this website. Again, lamaterial.com put together a list of a whole bunch of LA politicians and their Yelp reviews. And a lot of them are positive, like this is on the brand. Eric Garcetti really likes an Indian place. But most of everyone's writing positive reviews, except for Alex Padilla, who wrote a 1-star review from Great Clips.
What's his problem with Great Clips?
I'm going to guess he got a bad haircut. I've been to this location many times with my sons and are usually happy with this results. It's a given that each visit and each stylist is a little different, but tonight I had what I can genuinely call a terrible experience. The stylist had a very bad attitude and was impatient with my son and clearly does not know how to cut hair.
I don't know the feeling.
That was a good show today.
What was the number of likes that we ended up with?
Let's check the final tally, and thank you all so much for doing this. It definitely helps us take over the internet one day at a time. 544 likes. We did it, everybody. You did it.
All right, that's it for us today, but we'll be back tomorrow at noon for another edition of The John Phillips Show.